The incisal edge position is important also because it is what allows us to pronounce most of our words. The fricatives, the F, V sounds, and the sibilant sounds, S, SH, all those sounds are a relationship between the lips and the incisal edges of the anterior teeth. Okay, so not only are we looking at anterior guidance, we're also looking at phonetic aspects of the anterior teeth as well as the aesthetics. Okay, which you guys will build into. Yeah, if you got a lip sucker or a parafunctional habit like this, you. Huh?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
How many, how long lip sucking and years?
Actually, not that long if they start early. Problem is, this is a parafunctional habit. If you can get rid of the parafunctional habit, the upper lip will tend to bring these teeth back into position. And the problem is you got to break these habits early. Now, if you have a retruded mandible or retrognathia, so that that's a natural space and the lip needs to go there to close, now that's a skeletal deformity, and how are you going to create, solve that? Depends how much you're nail biting. It can. Anything you put in between the teeth and doesn't apply a functional force, considered a parafunctional habit, therefore it can cause tooth movements and other problems.
What kind of anterior guidance do you see? Is there any?
I don't know, tell me.
I don't know, I was confused over definition of shallow.
Okay. In this picture, we see no anterior guidance. Why?
But they don't.
Huh?
They're not.
Is what?
Is they're not in contact.
No.
No.
Anterior guidance has to have movement to go with it. There is no anterior contact in this picture. Guidance you would have to assume. Guidance is a mandibular movement, not a static picture. One of the things that caught a lot of you guys on the midterm was that idealized occlusion. Okay? What is occlusion? Huh? Okay. Closing off or coming together. Occlusion is a static position. Function or parafunction, which are movements away from occlusion, are movements. So in a case like this, and we'll see a picture in a minute, when this patient does move, go into protrusive, there is vertical overlap, right? And there is horizontal overlap. But there's way more horizontal overlap than vertical overlap. Okay? So the first thing the mandible has to do is it has to protrude down and forward, out far enough to contact the lingual of the maxillary central before any guidance will start. Okay? While it's doing that, there's a chance that the posterior teeth will be in contact and rub against each other. Okay? So this is going to mean in a patient like this, if you're going to build teeth in, you're going to have to build shallower, flatter cusps to allow that movement. Okay? Now there's the other thing called Christensen's phenomenon. And I think we mentioned it a little bit. And that's the phenomenon that when we go into translation, the angle of the eminence, right, causes the condyle to translate down and forward, which automatically opens up the posterior aspect of the mandible. Christensen's phenomenon. When you're translating down the eminence, so if the condyle is sliding down the eminence, there's an automatic opening of the posterior teeth. Because remember, they're established to close when the condyle is seated superior, anterior, midmost at the contracted length of the muscles. Right?
These phenomena have any effect on morphology?
It's actually a protective phenomenon because it's only when you're going into protrusion. But you will notice that instead of your jaws just coming straight forward into anterior contact and into anterior guidance, there is, if you have enough eminence angle, you will get a greater opening in the posterior than the anterior guidance until the anterior guidance goes over.